Chapter 1. The battle at Callisto. The stars above Jupiter were dying, consumed by fire and the brutal force of an invasion from the depths of space. The alien ships were massive, sleek vessels that sliced through the void with terrifying precision. Their weapons turned moons into debris, leaving nothing behind but the cold, silent aftermath. The warships of the Xthor, an ancient and merciless species, were on the cusp of completing their decades-long mission, the extermination of humanity. But Earth wasn't ready to fall. Admiral Claire, ironclad, Harris gripped the cold metal of her command chair, her knuckles white as the alert lights flashed red across the war room. The humans were outgunned, outnumbered, but they had something the Xthor did not, a spark of defiance, a relentless will to survive. "Admiral, we've lost contact with the Outer Defense Fleet," reported Commander Jason Ward, his face grim. "The Xthor flagship is deploying its final assault force. If we don't stop them here, Callisto is gone." Claire took a deep breath, pushing aside the flood of anxiety threatening to engulf her. The Xthor, once dismissive of Earth's defenses, had underestimated the most dangerous species in the galaxy. Humanity's capacity to fight, to improvise, to adapt, it was their greatest strength. And now, at the brink of total annihilation, they were about to show the Xthor why Earth was called a death world. "We have one shot, Commander," Claire said, her voice calm but steely. "Prepare the fleet. We're going to make them regret underestimating us." Chapter 2. The Xthor Conundrum. On the Xthor flagship, Zavorik, the supreme commander of the Galactic Conquest Fleet, stared out over the battlefield from the command center. His species had conquered dozens of worlds, but none like Earth. The humans, primitive and chaotic by their standards, were proving an elusive and tenacious foe. Despite the overwhelming firepower they brought to bear, the humans had managed to survive the invasion so far, inflicting significant damage to Xthor assets. Zavorek's thoughts were interrupted by a communication from one of his subordinates, a sharp and fearful voice. "Commander, the humans are adapting. Our strategies are no longer effective. They're—" "Silence!" Zavorek bellowed, slamming his fist on the console. "We are the Xthor, the most advanced species in the galaxy. How could these apes pose a threat to us?" But even as he spoke, doubts gnawed at him. The human ships, though primitive, had performed impossible feats of evasion and sabotage. Their resilience on the ground had turned what should have been a swift and clean victory into a brutal war of attrition. Zavorek couldn't ignore the gnawing fear deep in his chest. Perhaps the humans were more dangerous than he had anticipated. "Send the fleet to the edge of Callisto's orbit," Zavorek commanded, his voice colder now. "We will finish this once and for all. Earth's last defenders will be crushed beneath our might. This time, there will be no mercy." Chapter 3. Defiance under fire. Claire stood at the center of the war room, staring at the holographic map of the battlefield. The human fleet, a ragtag assortment of ships cobbled together from the ruins of Earth's technological might, was about to face the Xthor in a final, desperate gambit. The odds were long, but Claire had made a career of impossible victories. "Deploy the stealth fighters on a flanking route," she ordered, her voice commanding the room's attention. "We're going to pull them in, draw their attention to the center of the formation, then hit them with everything we've got." Commander Ward raised an eyebrow. "That'll leave us exposed to a full assault on the left flank." "They'll crush us." Claire turned to him, eyes steely with resolve. "We don't have the luxury of playing it safe. The moment we show weakness, it's over. The Xthor are strong, but they're predictable. Let them come. We'll hit them where they least expect." "Understood, Admiral," Ward said, his face tight with the weight of the decision. As the fleet maneuvered into position, the tension was palpable. Thousands of ships, human and alien, arrayed across the cold emptiness of space, ready to clash in the ultimate battle for survival. The Xthor flagship loomed ahead, its imposing silhouette like the hand of doom reaching down to crush humanity once and for all. But the humans weren't going down without a fight. Chapter 4. The battle for Callisto. The first shot came from the Xthor flagship, a massive energy beam that tore through the vacuum of space with blinding intensity. It struck the lead human cruiser, sending it spiraling into the void in a fiery explosion. But the humans didn't flinch. They fought with a ferocity that surprised even Zavorek. Every ship, every fighter, every human soldier, fought like they had nothing to lose. The Xthor fleet clove, head in, firing salvo after salvo of energy blasts, But the humans were prepared. Their ships zigzagged and darted with impossible speed, firing back in unrelenting bursts. "We've got them! Their shields are failing!" Ward shouted, eyes alight with disbelief. "Admiral, they're breaking formation!" Claire's heart raced. This was it, the moment they'd been waiting for. The X-Thor flagship had focused all its firepower on the human fleet's center, leaving its own left flank wide open. The trap was set. "All fighters, engage the left flank!" Claire barked. "Take them out, now!" The human stealth fighters, cloaked by advanced technology scavenged from Earth's old satellites, darted out of the shadows, catching the X-Thor off guard. A devastating barrage of missiles and energy blasts tore through the X-Thor formation, ripping apart their vulnerable warships. But the battle was far from won. A sudden, sharp jolt reverberated through Claire's command ship. Her eyes widened as she saw the X-Thor flagship's secondary weapons powering up. "They're preparing a doomsday weapon," she muttered. "All ships, evasive maneuvers. Get ready for impact." Too late. The flagship unleashed its final weapon, a massive energy pulse that sent shockwaves through the battlefield, disintegrating ships in its wake. The pulse headed straight for Earth's final defenses, the fleet at Callisto. "Admiral, they're targeting our homeworld," Ward shouted, his face pale with dread. Chapter 5. A world in the balance. The X-Thor flagship's weapon ripped through space like a harbinger of doom. And for a moment, it seemed as though all hope was lost. But Claire Harris wasn't done. "Not yet. We're not finished," she growled, determination surging through her veins. "Not while we still breathe." "Admiral," a voice called from the back of the war room. It was Lieutenant Anna Reyes, one of the brightest minds in human tactics. "I've got an idea. It's insane, but it might just work." Claire turned, eyes narrowing. "Speak. Instead of trying to counter their pulse, we'll redirect it. We can use the gravitational pull of Callisto and the surrounding moons to reroute the energy back at them. It's a 1 in a million shot, but if we use the remaining fleet to draw their fire..." Claire didn't let her finish. "Do it, now." The final phase of the battle began, and the human fleet executed a high-speed maneuver that would have been impossible for any other species. The X-Thor flagship unleashed its weapon once more, but this time, the humans were ready. A network of satellites scattered across the moon's surface activated, drawing the deadly energy beam toward them. The X-Thor flagship's massive weapon backfired, and in a stunning twist, the pulse of destruction surged back at the attackers. The flagship exploded in a cataclysmic blaze of light. A massive shockwave rippled through the battlefield, scattering debris and sending shockwaves that shook every ship in the vicinity. For a brief moment, there was silence. Then, the cry of victory rang out across the human fleet. The X-Thor flagship was destroyed, but victory came at a cost. The human fleet was decimated, with only a fraction of their forces remaining. Chapter 6. The calm before the storm. As the human ships limped back into orbit around Callisto, the cost of the battle was evident. Hundreds of thousands had perished, but humanity had survived. Against all odds, they had struck back and won. But Claire Harris knew this wasn't the end. Zvorik was not one to be easily defeated. The X-Thor were relentless. The galaxy had underestimated humanity once, and it would do so again, at its peril. "We've won this battle," Claire said, staring out at the remains of the X-Thor fleet. But the war is far from over. And then, just as the human fleet began to regroup, a new message flashed across the screen. The X-Thor were assembling a new weapon, one unlike anything humanity had ever seen. The real fight was about to begin, and humanity's final test was just beginning. Chapter 7. The final stand. The survivors of the Battle of Callisto were battered, bloodied, and broken, but their spirit was unyielding. Admiral Claire Harris stood on the bridge of the Vigilance, looking out at the debris field of the destroyed X-Thor flagship. Her fleet was small now, barely a dozen ships left in orbit around the gas giant, but they were still alive. And for humanity, that was enough. "Admiral," Commander Ward said, breaking her thoughts, "we've received the latest intelligence. The X-Thor aren't just retreating. They're regrouping, assembling something massive. It's beyond anything we've encountered." Claire's jaw tightened. "What are we looking at, Commander?" Ward turned to her, his face grave. "We believe they're building a superweapon, something capable of destroying entire planets. They're calling it the Sundering Pre-SM. According to our reconnaissance, it's being built in the heart of the Kuiper Belt. They plan to fire it directly at Earth." Claire took a long breath, her mind racing. The X-Thor, defeated at Callisto, had now revealed their final card. A weapon of unimaginable power. But she was done running. Done playing the defensive game? Humanity had faced annihilation before and emerged from it like a phoenix from the ashes. The sundering prism would not be the end of them. "We're going to take that weapon out," Claire said, her voice unwavering. "This ends now." Commander Ward set course for the Kuiper Belt. "We don't have much time." Chapter 8. Into the belly of the beast, the journey to the Kuiper Belt was swift but agonizing. Every moment spent in the black void brought them closer to the edge of extinction. As the fleet neared the outer rim of the belt, a vast cloud of icy debris loomed before them. It was here, amidst the frozen bodies of ancient comets, that the X-Thor had hidden their weapon. But even in the cold expanse of space, Claire could feel the heat of the impending battle building. "Admiral, we're getting readings," Lieutenant Reyes reported. "The weapon is fully operational. It's massive. It's hard to quantify, but it appears to be nearing completion." "Then we don't have any more time," Claire said firmly. "All ships, full combat readiness. We're going to hit them before they can finish." As they neared the hidden location of the sundering prism, the human fleet split into two strike groups, one to provide a direct assault on the weapon itself, the other to distract the main body of the X-Thor fleet. The strategy was risky, but with the clock ticking and the stakes higher than ever, Claire had no other choice. "All fighter wings, prepare to deploy," she commanded. "We fight to win. Do not let them get that weapon online." The tension was palpable as they entered the icy, debris-filled expanse of the Kuiper Belt. Every inch of the cold vastness felt like a trap, the looming presence of the X-Thor's superweapon ever hanging overhead. The silence of space was broken only by the hum of their engines and the occasional chime of a warning alert. And then they found it, a gargantuan structure, larger than anything the humans had ever seen. A network of towering beams and energy conduits stretched across space, connected to a central core, a structure so massive that it made their largest warships look like toys in comparison. The sundering prism was real, and it was nearly ready to fire. "Target the central core," Claire ordered, her voice steely. "Hit it with everything we've got." The human ships launched a coordinated attack, sending waves of energy blasts toward the central structure. But as the first shots struck, the sundering prism's shields flared to life, repelling the assault with ease. "We're not getting through that," Ward shouted over the comms. "They've reinforced it with a shield matrix designed for direct planetary bombardment. It's invulnerable." Claire's heart pounded in her chest. This was it, the moment where victory or defeat would be decided. The sundering prism would destroy Earth in a matter of hours unless they found a way to break through. "Lieutenant Reyes, can we disrupt the shield matrix?" Claire asked, her mind racing for any possible solution. Reyes' face lit up with sudden inspiration. "Yes, Admiral, we've analyzed the shield's power grid. If we hit the auxiliary generators located in the outer ring, it'll destabilize the entire shield network. But they're heavily guarded." Claire didn't hesitate. "We'll take the risk." Commander Ward led a strike team to disable those generators. "Reyes, prepare to fire on my mark." The human ships split into two groups, with Ward's team leading the charge to breach the outer defenses. Fighter jets streamed out like fireflies, weaving through the debris field, taking evasive action against X-Thor interceptor craft. The battle became a blur of weapons fire, screams over comms, and the relentless roar of engines. "Focus on the generators," Ward barked to his squadron. "Take them out before they can retaliate." The space around them erupted in a symphony of chaos as explosions rocked the field. One by one, the human fighters took out the X-Thor defense ships, drawing closer to the generators that held the key to the sundering prism's shield. Chapter 9. The final push. It was now or never. The auxiliary generators were disabled, their power cores exploding in a spectacular cascade of fire. The sundering prism's shields faltered, flickering like a dying star. The humans had their opening. "Reyes, fire now!" Claire shouted. With precision born of desperation, Reyes fired the Vigilance's most powerful energy weapon, a direct shot aimed at the heart of the exposed core. The blast shot forward, tearing through the remnants of the shield and striking the central matrix X with unimaginable force. The sundering prism, the weapon that could obliterate entire worlds, shuddered, its systems destabilizing. Then, with a thunderous shockwave that sent ripples through the very fabric of space, the superweapon exploded in a violent burst of energy, sending debris scattering in every direction. For a moment, the silence of space returned. Then, as the remnants of the Xthor fleet scattered, Claire allowed herself to breathe. The sundering prism was gone. Earth was safe. For now. Chapter 10. Aftermath. As the human fleet regrouped, Claire stood in the command room, staring out at the wreckage of the battle. The Xthor fleet had been decimated. Their superweapon lay in ruins. Humanity had fought back and won. But Claire knew this wasn't the end. The Xthor were a species of relentless conquerors. They would return, and next time, they would come with even greater wrath. She turned to Ward, who was standing by her side. "We've bought Earth time, but we need to rebuild. Prepare for the future. I have a feeling we haven't seen the last of the Xthor." Ward nodded, determination in his eyes. "No matter what comes next, Admiral, humanity will stand strong." And as the fleet limped back toward Earth, battered but unbroken, Claire Harris knew one thing for certain. Humanity was not just a death world. It was a world that would never kneel.